Bruh, even flirting destroys a marriage. Unless if your wife is an e-thought and that's her main source of income, then maybe flirting isn't so bad. Let's see. Alright, guys. Today we are going to be Am I the Jerk stuff today. And the video we are going to be watching is from a channel called GC Reddit Stories.
Story. Am I the a-hole for being very upset that my wife is helping her friend cheat on her husband? A while ago, my wife and her friend went on a weekend trip, which seemed fine. Turns out, the friend didn't really want to go on a trip. She was meeting a guy, her best friend, her soulmate. Apparently, these two have been messaging each other for years.
Wow.
My wife didn't know this, but obviously found out about it and told me. But she just ignored it because it wasn't our business.
I don't like these scenarios because on the one hand, it's like, it's the bystander thing. Are you really going to let someone get taken advantage of when you could do something? But then on the other hand, how much of someone's relationship should you get involved in, you know?
We didn't tell the husband. It was a weird WTF kind of thing. I did not know the husband at all. I barely know his friend. I was thinking, not my circus, not my monkeys. So here's the thing. The friend asked my wife to go on another trip and that she will pay probably around $3,000 for the sole purpose of cheating on her husband again. My wife was gleefully ecstatic about going on a free trip. She will be the alibi for her friend cheating. Not an a-hole for being outraged, feeling betrayed, feeling that our marriage is a freaking joke, and frankly wanting to end it. If her and the girls make such a farce of marriage and help each other out and cover for each other cheating, what the heck is our marriage? I am seriously considering telling my wife that she can make her own decisions, but they have consequences. And when she returns for the Bangfest cheating weekend, the locks will be changed, and the divorce papers will be pinned to the front door.
Wow.
If it was like she went on a trip and then she found out, it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. You didn't know beforehand, but then like the second that it's a situation where it's like, oh yeah, you did know, and you're just trying to have like a gain on it, then I think it's too far. One of the things that I must say is like, I really hope that this dude at least told his feelings to his wife, you know? Okay, I don't think he's in the wrong. And, like, I don't think he's an asshole, but it's not just like like, this came out of nowhere sort of thing, you know? It's not his responsibility to, like, make sure his wife is morally a good person. Like, there are divorce stories. People, like, twist their things. And if anyone were to say, like, oh, yeah,
I heard you divorced her and kicked her out of the house, then he'd say,
no, I tried to work things out, but she was okay with cheating. It's one of those, like, technicality things where it's like, if he doesn't voice it, then technically, if she were to say, like, oh yeah, he threw me out of the house and, like, you know, like, he wouldn't even talk to me and he just gave me a divorce, on a technicality, I guess it doesn't really matter in the long run, but, like, because, again, anyone could say anything, but, I don't know, I feel like to some people it matters, like, for me, it doesn't matter, but, like, I feel like for some people, it's like, well, technically, again, like, I don't blame the guy. Like, overall, whatever he does, I think, like, he's doing, in fact, I think he should go a step further and tell the husband, like, oh, yeah, your wife is cheating on you, and like while they're both on their girl trip for the girl to cheat, so then they could both get a divorce at the same time. If your wife is so okay with cheating or like being friends with a cheater, what happens if, like, does your commitment mean nothing? Does commitment mean nothing to you, you know? It's one of those things.
Husband of a woman I hooked up with.
Partner, but before you all bite my head off, hear me out. I, 28 male, hooked up with a woman, 30 female, that I met at a bar one night. After a very long and stressful week at work, a coworker and I wanted to go work out some stress by having a few beers at a bar near work. It was late when we finally got out of work, and it was a Friday, so there was a bit of a crowd, but it wasn't packed. All I wanted to do was have a couple beers and go home. But almost as soon as we sat down at the bar, my coworker started talking to a group of women that were next to us. I didn't really participate, but I chimed in every now and then. Eventually, one of the women of the group came and sat next to me. They started talking, ignoring the rest of them. You might be asking, how could you not tell she was married? Did she wear a ring? No, she wasn't. It might sound weird, but I make sure to look so I can decide if I want something more with a woman or not. If I see a ring, I don't even try. You might also ask, did she hint at any sort of a relationship she might be in? No, we had basic conversations, like what we did for work or things we do in our free time. Finally, you might ask, did her friends try to separate us or hint at you to stop? Again, no, we all seemed to be happy for her smiling at us. Eventually, we went back to my house and hooked up that night. Now, you might say, oh, she was drunk, and she must have felt guilty or ashamed in the morning after. Nope, and I know that, because she asked for my number and left with a smile, and told me she would text me later. At this point, I just thought I had a fun night with a great woman. Later that day, we started texting pretty casually. For the next 2 weeks, we just texted back and forth. We made a date to go back to the bar and see each other again. We sat down at the bar for 2 drinks, and then she asked if I wanted to go back to her place. I, of course, said yes, and away we went. At her house, there were a few things that made me suspicious, but I put it to the back of my mind. There were small things like a man's coat and a pair of shoes at the door. What made me put it to the back of my mind was near the door was a bunch of pictures of her family, and there was none of her at a guy, so I thought it was maybe an ex or a male family member things. Things started to spark between us, and we took it to the bedroom. She went into her bathroom and got ready, but I see her closet door was open, and inside was a ton of men's clothes. So much so that it was obvious that a man lives here. I shouted in panic. Then I had called from work and I had to go. I apologized and got out of there. Every possible thought ran through my head, but it all came back to she didn't have any of her socials, and besides some texts throughout the day, we didn't call or FaceTime. All I knew was her name and where she worked, and that I needed to tell the guy what happened. I looked all over social media, but there was nothing. I went to her work's website and found out she gave me a false last name, and then found her and her husband on social media. At this point, I almost relented, thinking if I told him I might ruin a family. But I quickly came to my senses and messaged him. The message was, "Hi, you don't know me, but 2 weeks ago I slept with your wife. Ended up at your house. I noticed some of your things around the house and laughed as soon as it clicked in my brain that she was married. If you need me, reach me at my number." He hasn't messaged me back, but cheater friends have blown up my phone for the past 2 days, saying I'm wrecking marriage. Morally, I think I'm the right, but am I the a-hole? Now for...
No, bro. No, bro. Although, okay, this is a completely different rant, but whenever Redditors were like, I gasp, or like they do something like so descriptive that's like from a book, I feel like this is a made-up story. Like, obviously, I feel like all of them are made-up stories, but most people wouldn't care to put that level of like detail into it, so I don't understand why. Yeah, no, you ain't the asshole, bro. I don't understand in what world you would be, because one, you didn't know she was married. Two, you stopped it the moment you found out that she was married. And then three, you told everyone who was involved. Like, you told the guy who she was cheating on. Bruh, even flirting, like, destroys a marriage. Unless if your wife is an e-thought and that's her main source of income, then maybe flirting isn't so bad outside of marriage. No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding, guys.
My sister told me that she and my fiancé were having an affair before his death. So...
Ooh, bro. Bro, what the heck, bro? Disown your sister. Disown her. Disown your sister, bro.
About a month ago, my 25 female fiancé...
27 male had unfortunately gotten killed in a car crash. It was devastating for everyone, especially since me and him were going to have our wedding in September of this year and was planning on buying a new house together next year. It was like everything I had dreamed of had come true before it all came crap to anyone, and some occasions drinking myself to sleep.
That's sad.
To give me the courage to finally go outside after nearly 4 weeks of just staying indoors.
Yeah, good friends, good friends.
Looking forward to it, but I didn't have a good
friends.
and even got a smile on my face for the first time ever since my fiance's death. But when I came back home and walked into the living room, that's when I saw my sister, 22 female, in my wedding dress. Music playing in the background while she was looking at herself.
What the heck?
Yo, sister seems like a freak, bruh. Watch you in your wedding dress, bruh. Imagine, like, going to apologize to someone, but then you, like, take their clothes and, like, you steal their wedding dress and then put it on, and then you wear that for the apology.
When she noticed me, immediately
Oh, wait,
she
no, that
screamed
was
at
an
me to
apology,
get
never
out.
mind.
But I stood my ground and refused until she explained herself. That's when she broke down and told me that before my fiancé's death, her and him had been having an affair, and that they were planning on running away together before the wedding.
Wow.
When she told me all of that,
Then why didn't he break off the wedding? Why is he spending all this money when he could literally, like... It would be so much more embarrassing if the sister's, like, on the altar waiting for her husband, and then her husband, like, took off. Why didn't he... If he was planning on like, running away with the sister, why didn't he just...
Do it and call off the... that's stupid.
I ran to lock myself in my room. She did try and get me out so she could explain herself more.
How do you
but what
This is like something I've seen on Twitter a lot, and I kind of agree, like, with this sentiment that the Twitter people... I agree with Twitter, guys. Oh my goodness. No, I'm kidding. But everyone on Twitter, I feel like, unanimously agrees that there is no justification for cheating. Like, and I kind of agree. Like, the only time I could see a justification for cheating, Okay, so I guess it's not the, like, I don't wholeheartedly agree. But the only time I could see a justification for cheating is if the person who's cheating
was like forced into a marriage against their will and like something like that.
What on earth is there more to explain? I feel sick even writing this, to be honest. I don't want to look at her. I don't want anything to do with her.
Bro, you gotta disown your sister. Like, convince your parents to get her out of the well and then throw her to the streets.
And all I've been doing is crying all day. This year has honestly been the worst in my entire...
Unless if your parents are already passed away, then what you could do is find a way to make your sister give the inheritance back to you and then throw her out the streets. Get her out of here. Like, okay, let's put it this way. Okay, so like the sister was like, OP was like, oh.
I've been depressed for 4 weeks, like, well, not even 4 weeks, like for months now.
It just recently I went out of the house, but like, like, what happens if the sister made up a lie? Like, she lied about this just so, like, the sister would get, just so OP would get over. I know that probably isn't what happened, but like, what if, like, what if that happened? I feel like I'm giving too many people, like, I'm giving, like, too many bad people, like, justifications or, like, trying to, like, victimify? I don't know. But, like, I don't know. It's just, like, what if? Dun, dun, dun!
A-hole for clarifying via social media post that my wife's baby was the product of her illicit affairs.
Ooh.
My male 49 wife, Cynthia, female 45, got pregnant against my will.
Whoa. That's a lot to take in.
After we had discussed and agreed on not having any more kids. We already have female 18, male 13, male 8, and male 4, and I was scheduled for a vasectomy. She claimed she was on a pill, but I was using others because I wanted to make sure nothing happened. I had my vasectomy, but she was pregnant a few weeks later. She was overjoyed, and I wasn't. I never pushed for her getting surgery because I know it's harder for women, and she said injectable contraceptives hurt her health. I checked all my condoms, and all of them had been pierced.
Oof, 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 oof.
We had a huge argument that ended with her crying. My trust has been destroyed. I assume that nothing she says is true.
Oof.
She also got
Bear.
fired when she was 3 months pregnant.
Oof.
I found it weird that she didn't fight it. Then she said she needed to stay home, which is exactly what I dreaded.
Uh-oh.
She said morning sickness was too bad to go to work. Our entire 18 years of marriage, she has pushed to be a stay-at-home mom. We can't afford it. She gave me the silent treatment for...
True, if y'all are gonna be like old parents, like when the last kid finally leaves, you're gonna have no savings like for retirement and stuff. So you kind of need to have like a dual working situation if you're having kids that late in the game, just so you could have some retirement. You don't want to be working till like you're 3 billion years old.
Was born when I said she needed to find a job. I never heard the end of it, as she calls it, when I made her leave our baby and sent her to get a job. Like I had ripped her away from our kid. I got suspicious thinking that perhaps she had resigned and was lying. I know it's wrong, but I got into her phone. Long story short, she had a workplace affair, and she and her affair partner both got canned.
She slept with him during her training out of state.
And eventually scheduled every assignment out of town to cheat with him. He was in his late 50s, married. She also slept with my cousin's son, Nelson Male.
Oh no, not your bruh, no, not the cousins. Like, okay, I know he's like an adult, but like, no, ew. So that kid probably isn't even his to begin with, bruh. She cheated with multiple, she's like, ugh. No thoughts, but is a thought. Oh man. And even with the relative son, bro, don't, ew. You're bumping buddies with your. Oh wait, so does that mean like the reason why she was piercing all of the condoms? Like, do you think that maybe the reason why she was piercing all the condoms was because, like, as she was cheating on all these people, she was like, oh shoot, like I might be pregnant. Okay, I gotta make sure that like I get it across that this might be his, or like, you know, I raise the odds that it might be my husband's. So then she pokes all the holes. So then like, you know, they make a soup in her, and then maybe like she's hoping that one of the kids will be his, and not the rest of the ones that she's baking on the side. Bro, this is crazy, bro.
9, and he's a drug addict.
He's a drug addict, bro. She took advantage of a drug addict. She took advantage of someone with like problems, bro. Get her out of here. Get her out. Shoo.
Unheard messages between them. He would come to my house when I was out. I've asked the neighbor and they confirmed. My neighbor said Nelson would show up sometimes 2 days in a row when I was out. I checked my schedule, and it could have been when I went to Ohio for 3 weeks. I came home on weekends, but everything seemed normal. What's worse is that Nelson calls me uncle. I let him say it a couple of times. She also used our own kids, our 2 youngest, as leverage, promising that he could see them if he didn't pressure her and kept his mouth shut. So she obviously...
She was using extortion too, bro.
In some type of a stepdaddy role. She told him the pregnancy was his baby. I hate him, but I think she manipulated him because he has zero relationship with his parents. She was like home to him. I lost it and woke her up. She tried to claim that she was SA'd by both men.
Into it because they threatened her. I confronted both men. I reached out to her ex-coworker via social media, but he blocked me after a couple of exchanged messages. Nelson did get belligerent, and it could have probably ended in a real fight if I had him in front of me. The paternity test came as negative. I moved out and got a lawyer. I refused to be at the hospital during childbirth. It was stillborn. I was shocked. Even if it wasn't mine, it felt dark and strange. I offered my kids emotional support, but didn't allow her to cry on me. I had to get a court order to get DNA tests on all our kids. They are mine. A few weeks ago, people on Facebook started asking questions and attempting to call me out for not posting anything about the baby. I think she might have told someone that I wasn't present at childbirth because a couple of people came at me. We are getting a divorce, and I'm very angry that she's still trying to milk it.
I told each person the truth separately, but eventually got fed up with looking like the bad guy.
Yeah.
I wrote a post saying thank you to everyone who has reached out to insult me, but the baby was not my child, as per the paternity test. It had to step away from social media because of it. Her family called me, asking to take it down. They didn't know the full story, but said this is not how things get solved.
Yeah, but telling everyone you know and like making a big deal about it is how things get resolved. Okay.
I'm not deleting it, despite being called out for ass shaming. While I worked my butt off for our family, she was texting her best friend and complaining about how I'm not the shadow of my former self, how I look old and let myself go. Her friend had an angry response, but they are not on speaking terms anymore.
Oof.
Cynthia claimed that her friend ghosted her and she doesn't know why.
She doesn't know
for
why.
custody, since she repeatedly took my kids across the state so that Nelson could hang out with them and left them with her dad before I came home from work so that she could go do work stuff and hook up outside of our marriage. She had been begging me to not ever tell the kids about the paternity test, but they needed to know the truth before she twisted the narrative.
Yeah, true. You gotta tell them, even if it does damage to the relationship, you gotta tell them.
With me, I'm sick of crying sporadically because sometimes I'm driving and can't hold it in. I can't even watch adult vids because shorter affair partners come to mind. I had a family, and despite
he doesn't like the
everything, I was
NTR.
happy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think he's the asshole in this situation at all. I think he definitely should keep the post up.
Not have sex with me for years when I was depressed. Am I the a-hole for considering leaving her now that I am back to normal? My wife, 34 female, and I, 34 male, have been married for 9 years.
I feel like the whole smooshing is a very someone's like else's body. So it's like if they don't feel like doing it, then like you know, even if it's like, oh yeah, you're depressed and stuff, it's like they shouldn't have to give up their like
bodily choices
to like make you feel better. But okay, let's see where they go with this, because like
Together for 14, and we have 2 children. Long story short, prior to this year, I was depressed. This period lasted for almost 3 years and was a culmination of various things. My best friend dying, work stress, life in general.
Oh.
During this time period, I did not have sex with my wife even once. My libido had drastically decreased, but whenever I did initiate, my wife said she wasn't in the mood and wasn't feeling attracted to me. That really hurt me and was also probably another of the causes of my depression.
Okay, did she actually say she wasn't attracted to, or was it just like she said no, but like, your brain translated it as like, oh yeah, she ain't attracted to me. Like, cause like, I know that the brain does, like, especially when you're going through depression, like, the brain takes very big leaps of like interpretation to just make it the worst possible interpretation of such, like, and like also like maybe her libo maybe her libo's like also really low, like we or maybe he'll get to that point later. I'm just like putting stuff out there just for now, because like, again, libo's a two-way streak. Like, some people are more on the asexual scale than others.
However, starting this year, I made a resolution to improve my life outlook whatever necessary.
Good, that's good.
And at least fake it till I make it.
Yeah, do
I
it.
started going out more, going back to the gym again. I was a gym addict before I was depressed and had a more positive outlook in life. It's been almost 9 months now, and I can say I'm the fittest I've ever been. Because I really slog it out at the gym and take out all my frustrations there. I am also generally much happier and have a very active life. My intimate life has also drastically improved.
Thank you for
However,
censoring
that is
that.
the only thing that really bothers me. While act itself is great, I don't feel any emotion or love for my wife. I still feel very hurt that my wife rejected me for years and told me many times that she was not attracted to me. Would I be the a-hole?
Okay, so the fact that he said that like twice, maybe she did like actually say like, oh yeah, like, I'm not attracted to you. Which, bruh.
For considering leaving her now that I have my life in order? I don't think my wife stuck with me at my lowest, and that has severely impacted my love for her. I've stayed with you during the 3 years you were depressed. Maybe you don't see the whole picture, and it was tough.
Again, like, okay, if she did actually say like, oh yeah,
I don't want to smoosh you just because, like,
I'm not attracted, like, if she said the words, I'm not attracted to you, then like, I feel like there's a case there. But if this is something you just inferred through every time she said no, then I feel like that would be like an a-hole. Like, let's look at it from the wife's perspective. All these am I the a-hole posts, it's usually from like one side, like one person's perspective, and one person's perspective could greatly skew a story. This person like outright said like, yeah, they were depressed and stuff, and depression like really screws up your mind like a lot. Maybe the reason why she's having more smush now is because it's like, well, like, yeah, now you're happier, so like, do you really want to smoosh someone that's like sad? Like, that just seems like that just seems like a rough time, I don't know. What do you guys think about this?